First item on the agenda is pledge allegiance. Please stand and join us.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Agenda review. Need to add personnel for executive session. Other than that, I'm good. Mark, anything to add?
No changes.
Nicole?
No changes.
Earl?
Well, I got one thing, but
Yep.
is public comment going to be here in the
Yep.
meeting?
Sure is. First and last.
I'll bring it up.
Kathy? And then
I'm good, thank you.
Joseph, you good? Brian, anything?
I just have something under other necessary business, and it's about 911 addressing.
Okay. 911, you said?
Yeah,
Add anything?
I'm good.
Okay. I hear a motion to approve the minutes from January 11th special meeting and January 13th special meeting.
I'll make that one.
And one more, I might as well do all three at once. The January 19th special select board meeting. So all three. I'll take a motion on that.
I move.
All right, the
I'll
second?
I'll second it.
All right, any other discussion on those? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Public comment. Anybody got anything under public comment that's not on the agenda? Earl, you wanna add something now?
Yeah, redistricting.
Yeah,
We're gonna get in with Elbert, Alma, and North Hero, that's the proposal.
that's the proposal. I am testifying tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock at the House Government Operations Committee.
You are gonna be
And
testifying.
I'm definitely, there is not legal time to warn the Board of Civil Authority meeting. However, I've told them, and nobody has replied back positive with this. So I was going to relay that information to them.
I guess the question I would have, one of the questions I'd like you to ask them to tell them they didn't offer another alternative on that website.
Well, the bottom line, from what I can see, they could have just kept Swanton and Sheldon as we are. It wouldn't have made any difference. Now, the southern half of Swanton will be going in with Sheldon, Franklin, Highgate, and part of St. Albans.
Okay, it didn't really show that on that map there.
No, it
was
didn't.
very confusing.
It was, very much so.
So you gotta bring that up. I mean,
I have 15 minutes to plead the case. Personally, and I won't get into it, but it's politics playing into this. And I would hope if a plan like this goes through, the governor vetoes it. And the supermajority will not make a difference in that case, because that goes to the court.
okay, but that bill is not passed yet.
No, it hasn't even come to the House floor.
All right.
And then it's gonna go over to the Senate, so. But, it's a ways to go, but they really are pushing it, because this should have all been done last year.
I don't know if anybody else has given any thought on this, but there was an alternative that was the single representative.
Single member districts.
And that's actually what that committee recommended.
The Legislative Apportionment Board recommended single member districts. In that case, then Swanton would have been split similar to what it is. Under this scenario, but it would be a single member with the south part of Swanton going in with Sheldon. So one single member there, a single member up here. But anyways, the majority party took their view of their appointee to the Legislative Apportionment Board. So that's what we're dealing with. But I am totally to expect, it's 25 miles from this location, almost 26 miles to the south end of North Hero. It's a long ways to go to represent your constituents, or for them to, assuming that the person wins from Swanton, but whatever. If I was still the incumbent, that's what I would be basing that on.
Well, one of my other concerns would be that if Swanton was gonna get split, that voters in a certain part of Swanton can only vote for,
That's right.
the town would not be voting for the same candidate.
That's right.
Part of the town
That's
would be
right.
voting.
So in general election, okay, keep in mind, presently on town meeting day, at town meeting day, many people come in to vote, they don't know if they're in the town or the village. But on general election day, they're gonna come in and have to know whether they vote in Franklin, whatever it is, Franklin 5 or Grand Isle Franklin, and they won't, you know, and so we're gonna have a person or two just to direct people where they need to go. They can use the same polling place, but different ballots, different checklists.
More work.
More work,
Yeah.
yeah. Exactly.
Good.
Well, I guess so, you know what our concerns are,
Yep.
you know, from the town perspective, and I'm sure that the DCA would,
Oh,
get any comments from them, they're gonna be telling you the same thing.
It is, the comments I've gotten, yeah, so, yeah, I will speak our minds, no.
All right.
Thank you very much. Anything else, Earl?
Nope, that was it.
Okay. Law enforcement. How are we going this evening?
It's going well.
Go ahead.
How's everyone tonight?
Not too bad.
So I have a packet for everybody. So in the month of January, for the town, there were 50 incidents that the police department responded to. Out of those 50, there were 3 motor vehicle complaints, 12 traffic stops. Out of those traffic stops, there were 3 DLS arrests, 1 DUI, 7 warnings, and 7 tickets issued. There were 3 welfare checks, 2 sex assaults that were referred to newsy, and there were 6 arrests. I've mentioned some of these already, but there were 3 DLS arrests, 1 DUI, 1 felony unlawful trespass. And you'll notice in some of the information that each of you have, there may be some additional charges because it was 1 arrest of an individual, but there were multiple charges associated with that arrest. And 1 L&L.
All these arrests came in the town.
Yes, these are all town numbers. We can section them out with the new system. I imagine Spillman also did the same thing, but there's an area assignment, so we can select the town and it pulls that information for the town only versus the village.
Much cleaner.
I like it.
Yeah, I like the new format. It's great. Do you have a tally on the tickets written? Money, no?
I don't have a tally total for at least December, or I mean, this is a tally for the year so far.
Okay.
But and some of these you'll notice, I don't know if it has it in your printout, but there were several associated with 1 traffic stop.
Okay.
Would it be possible to get the dates discovered on here?
Dates and the times?
I could try. It is literally the first of the month to the last of the month is the way we did the search. That I could try to mess with the printout a little bit. It's generated through a reports program in the CAT RMS system, so that's the way it developed the report itself. Even though we're inputting those dates, but it was through the first of the month through the end of the month for January.
I'm not so concerned about every incident as I am about, just knowing if I got this, pulling up what date is that.
Right.
Yeah, it's nice
Right.
to see the dates and the times.
Yeah, so there's multiple different ways to pull the information out of this system. I mean, you can see this is a little different way. Rather than generating the report, this is kind of out of what I call the front side of the system. So a search that I just did early this morning, and it looks a little different. It does have the dates and the times, but it's got a little more information with exact addresses and that sort of thing. So this is a little more anonymized as far as, I believe it's giving you streets, but not actual addresses.
Now, are we doing, I see we got 1, 2, 3. Actually in Highgate.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were some community outreach. One of those might have been my visiting the hydro plant and going through that facility, taking a look at it. And it just pulled it as part of the town, even though it probably technically is a Highgate address.
Well, I see one, it's a directed patrol, which is out in Highgate, it's not in Swanton, so that's why I would ask that question.
Oh, that one I think was flagged too, it was the CBP station, is that Raven Drive?
Drive, yeah.
Yeah, so that was also me going out there and meeting.
Okay.
And at the time, we're
Oh, yeah.
so the system itself is you can input different call types. At the time, directed patrol was the only type of call type that really fit the description. So we're working on building that out a little more and adding some call types.
Yeah.
But that's what that Raven Drive incident is.
Are you getting settled in?
I am. I've been pretty busy.
This is
So,
good, this is good though.
yes, yeah. A lot of paperwork. I'd like
Well,
to
at
get more
least
time to
At
be.
least you're not, losing the controversy that's going on in Burlington.
No, I'm not.
Oh my God. I think of you when I'm seeing that on TV.
All right.
I bet he's glad to be out of there.
Anything else for the chief?
No.
I'm good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh, Earl, got something? Sorry.
On Thunderbird Drive,
Yep.
excuse me, is that someone you're sending up there, or is that the officer at the school doing those?
That is mainly the school resource officers that are doing those cases. So there was 2 referrals out of there to Newsy. I can't really comment too much as far as any sort of detail associated with it. But I want to say there were 3 incidents up there. One might have been actually captured here. It occurred, I believe, in December, but because of the site was issued this month, it was captured in this report.
All right.
Good.
All good?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Have a good evening.
Safe
Great.
travels to Bakersfield, Chief.
All right, thank you.
Have a good night.
Do we have a health officer report?
Yeah, it's there in the packet.
Okay. Oh, yeah, you said it would spit out numbers.
Right, so it's right after, yeah.
Oh.
No, you,
Yeah, I'm looking.
Right after the chief.
right after the title page,
Oh, yeah.
there, right there. Just
There you
had
go.
2.
Quick look at that.
The only question I got on that is that January 10th one, is that not the same house you've been dealing with right along, or?
Oh, no, that's a
No,
different one.
It's
So we
different,
got a new
Not
one?
far apart, but.
Yeah.
it's a different one.
Or do we know if this January 25th incident with the dog bite was passed on to ACL?
That I don't know for sure. However, I did get a report, though he wasn't due to do a report this meeting, and I got it late this afternoon, so it's not in the packet, but he did not mention that. There was no mention of that. I can check with Rosita tomorrow
Yeah.
to see.
Just a reminder that if
Yeah.
she's supposed to report anything to him, but, and he needs the dog bites. Yeah, that looks good to me. Having fun. That page here. Anything else on the health officer? Everybody good? Yeah, Newtown Business, appoint Brian Savage as Deputy Zone Administrator. I'll entertain a motion to appoint Brian as the Deputy Zone Administrator.
I move.
All right, any second on that?
Second.
Any second on that? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it. Thank you, Brian.
Okay, you're welcome.
Appoint Oliver Manning to the Planning Commission for a 4-year term. I see the man's out there. You ready for the punishment?
We'll see.
You handle it? Yeah? Well, thank you for stepping up. I appreciate it very much. I'll entertain a motion to appoint Oliver Manning to the Planning Commission for a 4-year term.
I'll make that motion.
And I will second.
All right. Any other discussion on that? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank you and good luck.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Oliver. Thank you. Stipend increases for members on DRB and the Planning Commission. That's you, Amy.
Is that in the packet, Brian?
There is a there's a
Something
letter.
in here.
Right after the,
Tax.
yeah.
Right after the health report. Health officer's report.
Oh, I thought I lost it or something.
You've gone too far.
Yeah, I think I went too far.
I have an extra one.
Oh, I must have one here somewhere.
They're almost there, two more.
I think it's stuck together, that's what happened. There we go. There we go.
There.
I'm ready to ask to increase the stipend for not being awarded percent. Commission runs $30 per meeting. Chairs,
Well, I assume, Mr. Manning, that's why you joined, because
Must be,
you jumped right in as soon as you heard the rates were going up.
yeah,
Yeah, no.
the pay, yeah.
This is the first I've heard of it.
Amy, why is there a difference in the two?
Because the chair has more responsibility.
No, I understand the chair, but, am I reading this right? Hold on, maybe I misread this.
Each member, she's asking each
Yeah, yeah,
member
here's
receive
a
$45
I read it
stipend
wrong. My
Okay.
per
bad.
meeting, and then the chair receive $55 per stipend.
Yeah, I know,
Can we afford that difference in our budget? For what little bit it is? I
We
think
can,
we're
it
okay.
would've been nice to know before, but
Yeah.
we can make it work.
That's why I kinda figured we could find it, very much money, but.
You don't call for that long, I don't know, it seems to be something. Should be fine.
I'll entertain a motion that we, increase the stipend for the Development Review Board and the Planning Commission. $45 per meeting per member, and the chair of those two boards will get $55 per meeting.
I move.
All right.
And a second.
A second on that. Any other discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amy, for doing that.
I did have one, wasn't really a question, it's just,
Yeah.
probably for clarification. When's the last time the fees have been raised?
I don't know. I was on
How do
the,
they compare to other?
I haven't even looked. I haven't compared to other towns. All I know is I was on the Development Review Board from 2015 to 2017. And hasn't changed.
The fees?
The fees, the stipend
No,
hasn't
he's
changed.
talking about fees, but you did reevaluate the fees that we charge for
For applications?
permits and that, you did that
Oh,
a
that
while
was-
ago.
That
yeah.
was
A couple
2
years
years
ago.
ago.
Yeah.
We raised those.
Alright, so we're up to date there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're within the same money as the other towns are, so. Okay, we're all good. Thank you, Amy, for doing that.
The next one is gonna be in your packet right after Amy.
Amy,
Okay.
don't spend that all in one place.
I don't get
Well,
it.
that ain't Amy's anyways. Yeah. Oliver's one.
Thank you, Oliver.
Thank you, Oliver. Have a good night. Tax map maintenance contract renewal.
Yeah, received this, last week, this is for the tax mapping service. Last, contract we had was $3,400, it could go up to $3,800. But it's, basically an essential service we
Yep.
have to do,
Too
so.
bad we didn't have this before we did this.
I know.
I don't know why they didn't get into us.
And, so that, I, would, also, would, make, in the motion, if you're to approve this, that you could just give me the okay to sign it, so I have, and we'll take care of it.
So it's a did you say four? it was
$400, I
$400
looked up,
increase,
and it's,
so,
yeah.
I'll entertain a motion that we approve this $3,800 tax map servicing fee, and also give Brian the authority to sign the contract.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Alright. And I'll just add, that's for 2022, I'm assuming?
Yes.
2022.
When was the last time we had an increase on that?
I might have been a few dollars last year, we get a new contract every year.
Right, it's a new contract every year. Find a prior year to last year, I was only able to find last year, but I'll
Is
keep
there
looking.
usually an annual increase?
Not all the time,
Not all
the time.
it's not, I think they did increase like maybe 2 years ago.
I thought it was
We
around
budgeted for it.
three-ish a
We
few years
budgeted
ago,
for it
and it
anyways.
went up a
We do
little
have
bit.
money in our budget
Yeah.
for it,
Yeah.
because we pay it
Got a
quarterly.
motion, got a second. Any other discussion?
That's just for maintaining, so that ain't for any correction, or change of address, things that you guys.
No, this is just
Yes,
for the tax mapping.
Tax mapping,
Yeah.
yeah. All good? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it.
Okay.
And Brian can sign that, so we're good with that. Old Town Business, ARPA update, got anything good on that?
No, nothing yet.
All right.
And same with,
Ursa,
same with that.
okay. BB Road Culvert update, only a little on that.
Well, a little bit on that.
Yeah.
A week ago, Monday, or Tuesday, we, met, Tyler, the engineer, and myself met with, David Beebe at the site
Mhm.
and addressed their concerns, that they had relative to trees and whatnot. And, the scope of the work, and then, we came back, or Tyler went on his way, and, the BBs came up about a half hour later after I had a cup of coffee to warm up. And they signed the deed of easement, so we got
They
that
were all happy
signed.
with
Very,
what they need to do.
very,
Good.
very much so.
Yep.
And-
Yep.
And so now that, we're just, and we do have the signed contract back now from the contractor,
Yep.
and copies of the various permits that were required now back as well.
Okay.
So
All
I
right.
think we're just waiting for weather and whatnot to, and
Yep. Yep, spring
Move
time frame,
things
we'll
along.
get the culvert
Yep.
ordered and stuff.
Yep.
All right. Got a report from Community Economic Development from Elizabeth.
that's in the packet.
Okay. Hi, Elizabeth.
All right.
So there's
Let's see something.
about 2.5 pages. Obviously, I won't read it because you're all capable of reading it yourself. I'll go kind of through the highlights. These are in no particular what came to my head. So in November 1st, the state of Vermont, the Agency of Commerce, Community Development, Building and General Services, and V-Trans put out a report that they commissioned through VHB, who, if you remember, was the consultant on the downtown scoping study, and I believe they also did the Lake Street Palm Shore feasibility study. The state was looking for input on the status of the welcome centers, rest areas, information centers, and they issued a report, kind of lengthy, and they made several recommendations, several alternatives that they filtered down to 2 alternatives, and the one that we're interested in, one is just to leave, there's 16 rest areas, information centers, welcome centers, and it would be just to leave the existing 16 facilities. The other alternative that we're interested in would leave the Georgia northbound and southbound closed. Leave the Alberg Welcome Center closed. They did not reopen. Those are some of the facilities that did not reopen after the state of emergency. And to construct a northwest gateway welcome center on I-89. The report doesn't specify location. They're thinking somewhere around exits 20, 21, and 19. Brian, FCIDC put together a meeting, and Brian was there, Reg, Belleville, Heidi, and Highgate, Carrie from St. Albans, and most of the Franklin County delegation came to the presentation. We were looking for support for Northwest Gateway. We think that it would be advantageous to have a place for people on 89 coming out of Canada to stop for information on the county before they get halfway through the county. We're really kind of pushing that it be at or north of exit 21. One of the things is that if you're familiar with the Welcome Center in Berlin, it is a public-private partnership. It is not on the interstate because, as the report points out, you cannot have commercial facilities that sell anything other than telephone and vending machines on the interstate. New York and some other places got a waiver. Vermont does not have that waiver, so we couldn't put a public-private on the interstate. We could put it off of. So the delegation did submit a letter to the state in support of the project. Andy Drulo, who is the executive director of the Lake Champlain Islands Economic Development, he talked with some of their select board, and they are in favor of the project. The delegation did recommend leaving Albert open, or reopening it, I should say, to capture traffic coming from that direction. So there looks like there's movement. Corey Parent, who talked to Tate Brooks, who is the assistant director of the ACCB, and it looks like there will be some money put in the budget next year. I think it's kind of we'll believe it when we see it kind of attitude. But so it's just, I think it would be a great marketing tool for Swanton and all of Franklin County, and I'd really like to see it at exit 21. You know, we have a couple of locations. You know, obviously it would be public-private. So those conversations are ongoing and could really be a benefit to Swanton and the region. So that's the Welcome Center. The industrial park.
Wait a minute, before you move on.
Yes, sir.
As a board, would there be any benefit to us supporting that proposal?
I think as we move on, I think we can. I think the general consensus, and Brian, you can jump in, given that it looks like there is some momentum to go ahead and get it in next year's budget, that you know, we'll see how that plays out, and if it looks like we need additional support. But I think really having the delegation, every one of them was on board with it. So I think we're not fighting a battle. We're just kind of making sure that what we hear is what's actually happening. But I don't, I don't think it would be a bad thing if for some reason what we heard is going to happen doesn't actually happen, to have Swanton, Highgate, St. Albans, and the islands each do letters of support.
Actually, I would just add, further, I agree with what Elizabeth has said. However, I do think next year, as it gets to budget time, before the governor's budget is presented to the legislature, it might behoove the boards to send something to the governor's office supporting it, so that it gets in the budget from that point. And then again, if it's in the budget, then again to the transportation committees of the House and the Senate, who have to, they have to ultimately approve that budget to move forward. So it would probably be a couple of letters next year that we would have to get done.
Okay. Go ahead, Elizabeth.
Okay, the industrial park, Milan, as you know, is empty. Swan Valley has not done any production in about a year now. There has been several interested parties in Milan. We did a walkthrough a couple, 3 weeks ago. And there's been additional interest. Somebody's doing a walkthrough this week, I believe it is. So we are seeing some interest in the Milan building. And I think Earl has been in the loop on some interest on the Swan Valley property. And if necessary, we will do a walkthrough with some interested parties, hopefully in the next few weeks, to keep that interest moving. But there at least is, as we kind of anticipated, you know, there's not a lot of space, empty industrial space in the county, so having some interest in excuse me, those two buildings is pretty helpful. So the tax increment financing, otherwise known as TIF, you know, we're kind of looking at ways. We rely a lot, and a lot of communities rely on grant funding for a lot of infrastructure and different improvements. So just to kind of have the conversation, Reg, Lynn, and I met with Abby Sherman, who's Executive Director of Vermont Economic Progress Council. We talked about a TIF district in Swanton. I had reached out to one of the previous executive directors, and he was kind of inclined to think that Swanton wasn't a good fit. And having a conversation with Abby, we kind of came to the same conclusion. The TIF district is one, it has to be in a designated village center, designated downtown, or a growth center. And the Southern Growth District is something the town designated as a growth center. It's not a state designated growth center. So it wouldn't work out there. And the TIF district requires development, particularly infill and new development, and we just didn't think that given what we already have, that it would be a good fit. Red seemed to agree, and Abby was fairly non-committal, but I get the sense she thought the same thing. We also talked about project-based TIF, which would be, as the name implies, based on a project, not on a district. That did not pass last year in the legislature. So we're kind of keeping an eye on it to see if it passes. Tim seems to think that our legislative delegation may not be completely on board with that, but that may be another conversation to have with them. We also looked at a neighborhood development area, but as you see, I took a quote directly off of it. It plans for new and infill housing in the area that's close to the village center. And I talked to Faith Inglesrud, who ran that program a couple, 3 years ago. And Swanton Village is pretty well developed, so we just didn't think that it was a good fit. So some conversations just to see, so we're not relying completely on grant funding, but we'll continue to see what's out there and push. Just so you know, the village had applied for a transportation alternatives grant to fund some of the feasibility that was done last year. Those grant awards should be coming out pretty much any day now, so I keep checking the website. Those haven't come out yet, so we'll see. Any questions on that? Okay. Riviera Hotel. Good news is that the regional planning, Northwest Regional Planning Commission's Brownfields Committee did approve the project for Phase 2 funding. NRPC was awarded $100,000. They have 50 of it, so now they're in the process of requesting the remaining 50. So the Riviera will come out of that 50 that has been the remaining 50 of the I mean, if it falls down before then, so much the better. So everybody should, at least around the table, should have received a couple of newsletters. I did one for January, kind of talking about general news and events, and then I did a short one just on a homeowners assistance program that I wanted to push out. It is for anybody who's their primary residence, if they are behind on mortgages, property taxes, that kind of thing. Just kind of so you know, I have continued to go to what used to be the CUD, it's now Northwest Fiber Works. I get to be the board clerk, so I'm on the executive committee. They're looking at hiring an operations project manager. I think we're going to finalize that at our meeting later on this week. The first candidate didn't work out, so we have another really great candidate. They are moving forward. They're doing a poll survey, which basically says who owns the poles and where are they at, because they'll use existing poles wherever they can. And they have bought, or we're in the process of buying actual reels, and we're looking for space to store those reels for 2 years. It should be in the summer. Let's see. Regional priorities list. FCIDC is required to provide annually Agency of Commerce and Community Development with a list of 10 priority projects in the region. We submitted 12. We worked with regional planning, so it was a collaborative effort. There was a little bit of horse trading and bartering, but specific to Swanton, the Champlain Theater and Riviera Hotel projects were on the list, as well as the maintenance for the Lamoille Valley Rail Trail, which is expected to be finished later on this year. So we think that those projects would be beneficial to Swanton and to the region. So I just wanted you to know that those three that affect Swanton are on the list. The list is mainly, originally, I think this is the second or third year we've provided the list, and it was just a list, and then now all of a sudden it's kind of taken on a specific meaning, that if you apply for a Northern Border Regional Commission grant or something from ACCD, if you're on this list, it may affect whether or not you get funded. The list needed to have a directed job creation component. So if we had some great housing projects, not make the list, but there are other grants that they can use to apply for. So we are keeping an eye on some other projects, and if anything comes up that we know about, we'll add them to the second half of the list, that would then move up to the top 10 as those drop off, which hopefully projects move on. In case you're wondering, the Franklin County Airport, the Highgate area was Highgate Airport was #1, which that kind of has the Swanton component, there was water and sewer. But I just wanted you to know that Swanton had a couple of projects on the list. Working with a couple of businesses on some grant opportunities. The USDA Rural Business Development Grant application, which is due the end of the month. So those kind of relationships are ongoing. The one thing I didn't put on the list is the Working Communities Challenge, which, if you remember, the Northwest region under regional planning had applied for a planning grant successfully planning grant through the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston, and then you were invited to apply for implementation grant. Not successful, but the governor's budget for this year funded those projects that were not funded through the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston. So we are moving forward. We just did interviews looking for a project manager, and the projects are around housing, making housing more affordable in the region, and hopefully that would, expand out into the state. So, housing is important throughout the state and the region, and looking for ways to make that more affordable for folks. So, I think those are my highlights. I ran through it pretty quickly, I know. And there's some detail in what I didn't say, but if you have any questions.
Hey Elizabeth, this is Mark. Just a couple of questions on the regional planning. How often is that list updated? Is that yearly?
It is yearly, yes.
I just think that, maybe it's premature, but I think it's important that we keep an eye on the community center and the recreation, what possibilities that may take on in the next couple of years. So I think that might be an opportunity for us.
Yep, okay. Thank you.
We got any others?
Here's a question.
Yes, sure, Sean.
Elizabeth, you said there was about $50,000 that was going to be left over that would be earmarked towards the RIV project. Is that all going to the RIV project, or just what portion would be for the cleanup only?
So the 50,000 is what they have left of the 100,000. The phase 2 assessment is what we're waiting on, what is to be funded, and that is 30,000 and some change. So there would be an additional 19,000 remaining out of the 50.
So the phase 2 cost is almost 30,000?
The phase 2 cost is 30,000 and change, yes.
Based off the phase 1 that was done, what, 4 or 5 years ago on it? Is that
Oh,
the case?
no, we had had the phase 1 redone, and that was done a year and a half, 2 years ago.
And the phase 1 didn't have an estimated cleanup cost for that? That was going to require the phase 2?
I would have to check it, wait, ask your question again?
So after the phase 1, there wasn't an estimated cleanup cost? It was going to require a phase 2 in order to have that estimated cleanup cost?
So the phase 2 isn't the cleanup cost. It is just, so the phase 1, and you may already know this, is where you suspect that there's brownfields. The phase 2 goes in to look to see if there are if there's any hazardous materials. Phase 3 is the cleanup. So phase 2 is just to do the additional work to tell you what, if anything, you need to clean up.
Okay. And so that the additional money, which may be somewhere around 18,000 to 20,000 left over, would be used towards the phase 3. That's the plan for it?
No, and Brian, you may know more than I do, you're on the committee. The remaining money would go to any other qualifying project.
That's correct, yeah.
She said other qualifying projects?
Yeah.
Not the RIV?
Not the other qualifying projects, but there's some in the area.
Yeah. Andrew, wants to say something?
Typically,
I just would think that we would get a lot more for our money if we hired a good economic development director and paid him to live in Montreal, where the offices of these companies are, and where he can be talking to the presidents of these companies who are looking to expand, and you would have some knowledge from living there, rather than along Interstate 89, where that guy's on his way to vacation, and he doesn't really want to talk about economic development. And as far as a welcome center, don't waste your money. I spent 20 years on that board. And we had a welcome center 200, 300 feet down the road from us. Nobody ever stopped there. They closed it. Why? Every car coming through there has got to stop. And when they finish, the guy looks at you and says, Ben and Jerry's is which exit? You look at him and say, get him out of here, exit 7, goodbye. Or any place in Northern Vermont. I mean, you've got all people up there who live there. And the kids got their telephones in the back seat, already got the directions to get to most of these places. So that's my view on it.
Thank you, Ed. Anything else for Elizabeth?
Oh, that's it.
Yeah, I have one question, Elizabeth. I'm gonna pick your brain for a second.
Okay.
I got an email from a resident down on McQuam Shore today, in McQuam Bay. Do you recall us talking about applying for a state grant to study McQuam Bay? Besides the one we already applied for?
Is that the one that, well, I think there was some confusion because I think kind of left up in the air, and I know that the gentleman with the group whose name, was it Friends in Northern Lake?
Friends, right, Friends of Northern Lake
Yeah.
Champlain.
And I think that there was some misconception that we were gonna apply as well to a different grant. But as I'm talking, I'm remembering, because I think, was her name Karen? Had told,
I remember that name, yeah.
had suggested that we wait until to see what happened with that grant before we applied for the other one.
All right. Well, I'm gonna look back at the email here I got today. Select board last September, the select board approved last September the town's applications for the state to study McQuam Bay, is what he's saying.
No, it's not quite accurate.
No, and I don't think so either. As I recall, I believe the submission deadline was late February. So that's the email I got. I don't recall us saying we applied for the one that the folks down there helped doing the write-up on it.
Yeah.
That's the only one I recall we were applying for.
The one that we
Well,
were applying for was invasive species.
Yep.
That was
Well, and
a
I
whole
think-
separate thing.
Mhm.
And there was some lady from the state here that said she was gonna be able to take care of it.
And I think that we talked about, there was two different grants that were talked about, and I don't,
If I remember correctly, the Friends of Northern Lake Champlain already had their money approved
That's right.
Yeah.
for
That's right.
what they were doing.
Yeah, and I got an email about that
This
too.
invasive species was something different. That wasn't what the Friends of Lake Champlain were gonna be doing.
No, they're doing a different study. That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
yeah.
So but that is, I'm sure we made a motion, we go back in the minutes, that we would approve, sign this grant for the invasive species.
I'm sure it's there.
Okay. Well, we need to follow, maybe you could follow up on that for us, Brian.
Yeah, I'll.
See what you
made
can
a
find
note
about
here.
it so I
I'll
can
look
get back to them.
at the
He's
minutes.
saying the deadline for this grant is the end of late February thing, so that's why they're asking. Okay, all right, we'll check into it then. Thank you. Thank you, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too, thanks.
It is the Aquatic Nuisance Control Grant and Aid, and it is due February 28th.
Okay, that's probably the one then. Did you catch that, Brian, what it was
Yeah.
called?
Aquatic nuisance.
Yeah, yeah, that's gonna be what he's talking about, so. All right, well, it's my dime. Any updates from the highway? I don't even wanna go there. I'll just be long with the short. The dump truck's at Charlie Boyd's now, getting the body painted. It's a long story, but I'm not even gonna go there. So it will be painted by them, and then once it's painted by them, it has to go back down there and have the wing put on it, and then we can have the truck.
We'll have
And
it
it's a
by-
matter of bolting the wing on the truck. Everything's
We'll
on.
have it by next fall.
Yeah, hopefully by spring.
They get the truck all fixed,
The truck is fixed and running. Yep.
new computer, whatever.
We got the new computer in it, so. Yep. The dealership that fixed it down in West Lebanon said he was gonna plead the fifth when I asked him about what his thoughts were, why that computer fried. He said, I'm not even gonna say a thing. I'm not even gonna go there, so.
Some things are better left unsaid.
Yeah, so, and they will be painting the body to match the truck. I made that perfectly clear when we had our little spiel last week, so. Even though it's not the right body for the truck right now, but it's on there. I don't have anything else really I can think of. Just busy plowing. Any other necessary business? Brian, you have 911 addresses.
Yeah, just quickly, the town of St. Albans is renumbering the Palm Shore Road and their end of the Palm Shore Road. They're going to a 4-digit numbering system, which is now the state standard. And they've offered us to continue to be able to just go across the town line and renumber. At no cost. I mean, it's not costing them anything. It's being done by the state, but they were at it, so I said, well, I know there'll be there's some work involved, but I just was wondering if you want to get that started at this point.
I just shocked out because I see Joel sitting back here shaking his head. We've been through this so many times, we had damn 911 addresses.
Yeah, I didn't come to meetings for this, but I've been here 28 years and I've had 3 different addresses already.
Yeah.
And it's quite fun watching the delivery trucks after these changes because they just go back and forth trying to figure out what's what. And yeah. And I think Sean, I saw his head shaking over there too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Why do we need to renumber our road? Because there's a number in your road.
Well, eventually we have to, because it's one of the.
Eventually, the state standard is 4 digits. Now, I've tried to find places using the numbers in Palm Shore, and I did have a problem finding it. There's a few places that are really sketchy. But, it doesn't need to be done immediately, but I think before we're done, you're gonna see most of the towns gonna have to have some changes done to it, because it's just getting, really, every time I turn around, I'm getting a phone call or an email from Tyler down at the 911 office saying, well, this isn't right, that isn't right, this isn't right. And so it's, I was a bit surprised. I just said, well, I'll have to get back to St. Albans Town. We don't have to do it right now, but they offered it since it's the Swanton Post Office that services that into St. Albans. But it's just throwing it out there.
Do the pros outweigh the cons? I don't know.
I think, like French Hill, that is going to be redone. That's St. Albans Town is doing it. They got 20 roads they've got to do over. And so there's very few, we're reassigning a number today. We'll be working on that. There's one other house there, so the lots are going to have to get renumbered on French Hill. With that one, we told them we'll just go ahead and do that. There's just very few properties involved. The Palm Shore is totally different. A lot of properties there. So that's.
But just so you know, eventually we're gonna have to do, as we have a Bushy Road and Bushy Street, we have a Church Road and Church Street, those all
that
has to be changed.
Robin Hood Drive has to get
Yeah.
changed, because where it turns into the Robin Hood Drive complex, it's still Robin Hood Drive. That's not allowed. Yeah, there's.
It's more the 911.
Yeah.
If there's a fire, ambulance, right now they're chasing their tails.
Yeah.
And
I
it's-
get it though, but is it ever gonna be right? Like just
No, I know.
10 years and say, oh, that number's wrong, we change it again.
Yeah, that's a legitimate concern. I would certainly.
Joel wants to say so.
Yeah, being on the Quam Shore, if I have the fourth change, it's not the end of the world, if it's really impacting our emergency response. We changed it the last time to fix it, supposedly. That was to correct it, so I don't know what the 4-digit, I would ask our fire department and our ambulance, is there any problem with numbering on the Quam Shore Road? And see if there's really a need, and ask the police, and if there's not, why change it? But I'll support whatever you do, but fourth one would be interesting.
I get it.
Yeah, okay. I'll do some
Further investigating,
further
see what you
investigation.
come up with.
Is there a lot of work to get our addresses up to what it's gonna have to be?
A ton of work. These files haven't been touched in years.
Yeah.
It's been a problem. It's been.
So it is creating other issues besides the Palm Shore.
Oh, yeah. We are, of the 5, I'm gonna say this on camera, but we are
Go
the
ahead.
5th worst town in the state for 911.
Great.
I know.
Yeah, like even my street in the village, Linda Avenue, there's major problems there. Well, not major, but able to fix it, the whole street's gonna have to get redone. It's, so my neighbors will be angry at me, but, you know, it just kind of grow, I mean, what you think is a simple fix turns into,
Oh, yeah, I was working on a toilet today, did the same thing.
had those problems too.
Well, I guess my point is, if we have, I wanted you to say the fifth worst in the state, because I don't know if all the other board members are aware of this, but we had this conversation the other day with Ryan. You know, it's only gonna get worse. These type of things, once that computer's out of whack, and until somebody puts it all back together again, it's just gonna make other things more difficult.
So my understanding of when it first was done in Swanton, whoever was hired to do it, there was a person.
When it first came out, there was a young outfit.
Right. And instead of using every 52.8 feet, which is the standard they were supposed to use, they gave the new addresses every 50 feet. Well,
Yeah.
right there is a problem.
Yeah, they got 50 feet, I remember that.
It doesn't sound like a lot of problem, but on a stretch of road, as long as McCall Shore Road, well, that extra 2.8 feet is going to make a big issue down the, you know, as you're going. So right there from the get-go, that was a problem. Also, your front door, always traditionally, your front door is determined what your street number was. That's no longer the case. They're going by your driveway, where your driveway comes out, and that's where issues come in with Linda Avenue. Front door is facing, say, on Spring Street, driveway is on Linda Avenue, so they get a Linda Avenue address, and so things of that nature. Plus the Bushy Street, Bushy Road, or Church Street, Church Road. Those are major problems. They did correct one here in the village. It was Tebow Parkway, and there's Tebow Street. The Parkway, Tebow Parkway, is named Winters or Summers.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Usually wasn't picked from.
Again, there wasn't many people that live on that street,
Yep.
not many houses,
Yeah.
so that was okay. So those are just, and then some of the other ones, like the Catholic Church, is a relatively simple fix, but we got a lot of those in the village, similar. 65 Canada Street is the Catholic Church address. Well, that address is commonly used for the Catholic Parish Center. Well, it's actually the Catholic Church. The church building itself is 65, the rectory 67, the parish center is 69, and the cemetery will be 71. So that all has to get done. It's going to be time consuming. And I've got some changes. The 6 new apartments back here in the church, on the schoolhouse apartment building, are in the basement level, so those are all getting, I got that information today I was working on, and I've requested further information from the building owner. And this all is going to be coordinated between the town and the state and the post office, and obviously the property. Yeah.
Well, I'm wondering if that's a task that we can do ourselves.
Well, it can be done ourselves, but it's going to take long. It'll take a long time. But you know, it's been there's a lot of catch up to do. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
So, but I'll just further check with the Palm Shore. As I said, I don't need to. I'll just call Molly out at this Alvis Town and say we'll just explore our options, and we'll be back in touch with the state since they're doing it anyhow.
Sounds good. Anything else on any other business?
No, we're getting some correspondence.
You got some correspondence, let's hear them. Correspondence.
Okay, you got two, it's relative to the 4th Street property in the back of your packet. We received an email on the 4th Street property, a question from Betsy Fournier, the rec committee, and then there was a letter received from Mr. Clark and Betsy Fournier. They just wanted, well, you can read the letter, Joel is here. But the first one was they're asking about using the 4th Street property just as a sliding area to, to go and melt the snow and then have the kids slide down the snow. If that could be done, even though we know that the brownfield study shows there's been some sort of contamination, we haven't tested it yet to see could that be done.
We do have a mountain of melting snow in the parking lot at the rec department. The village uses it as a snow field for the piles that they have to move out of the village.
They're not there at 4th Street right now.
No, they're down at
They're
in
down
my
at the-
lower parking lot at the rec center.
It might be getting bigger after this weekend.
Well,
Yeah, my only concern about piling snow over there is all the debris, the waste that's in that snow in the spring when it melts, makes it all a mess. Yeah, at least with the parking lot, they can scrape it up and get rid of it,
With how much snow, and again, what will that do to some of the residents with the runoff and the water? For me, as far as the letter,
Yeah, just read the rest of it here.
with the Brownsfield there, don't know what the levels that it's at. Is there any concern of putting stuff there now, whether it be a ball field, a tee for anything for use of that? Do we know? Are there any concerns for children being over there?
Go ahead, Joel.
Yeah, what I would say from what I've
seen.
seen in the brown fields, where the ball fields would go would not be in that area.
Okay.
I would hope before springtime, in talking with a consultant, that you get the money that you put in the budget, thank you, by the way, that you did that. I would love to get the other two, but understand. We would have, and again, I sometimes talk in first person. I think that area could easily be identified, and what I read as far as the contaminants, unless someone stirs that up and gets it in the air, it shouldn't be an issue, so that could be identified and to me,
Turn it
just
off.
marked off and get people to stay out of there, put some snow fence there or something. So I don't really see that as an issue.
I don't, I know our plan is to have it looked at again and tested and see what it's gonna take to clean it up.
Right.
That's our next plan.
Yeah, I mean, someone's gotta sample it,
Yeah,
get the extent of it, and then determine how much to excavate and get out of there, or
yeah,
pour a concrete slab over the top of it or something,
Yeah.
so it doesn't get disturbed.
yeah.
Could be asphalt there, but where the location is, you might determine that, a slab over that might just be able to.
I think it would make more sense to have it tested again, just to see where
Well,
it's
it's gotta
at.
be
It's
tested.
been so many years that who knows what's there anymore.
Yeah, we don't know the exact location, so without someone with the
Yeah.
right sniffer.
Yeah, yeah.
We are talking just for the sake of the viewers, and we're talking a 35-foot by 35-foot.
Yeah, it's not very big either. No.
Correct.
Big area.
Do you know where that, you don't know where that area is?
Well, we have an idea.
It's general.
Left side.
General
As you
idea.
enter into the garage area, it's just off to the left. They have some containers there or something. Again, it's not deeper into the field. I meant to bring the report tonight and I didn't, but I will get that to Brian. I have the 2006 report. I just don't see that as a big issue. I'll be glad to make calls to some consultants and see how much just to do a quick test there, but I know as part of the brownfield, there's a list of them that you'd be working with when you decide to pull that trigger.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're not talking, I don't think, big area, and certainly, however the best way, but we have to get it tested.
Yeah, so that's the next step, we can find someone to
Yeah.
test it. We'll do that.
I think for me, temporary use,
There's
I
several,
say use it. I mean, as long as we cordon off that area and then we're not digging holes and making swimming pools there, so to speak.
As long as, as long as the board knows what they're using it for, I don't see a problem using it.
Yeah, that's because you only budgeted the cleanup.
Yeah.
There was some question, I mean, my understanding, I couldn't get to the 2021 archive, and other people told me the same thing. To get the minutes, when you click on it.
we have a problem with the website.
Right. My understanding in December, you voted to take it off the market.
Yep.
And then we said we would come back with a proposed budget, which we did. Unfortunately, I was out of town, and then Betsy couldn't make the meeting.
Yep.
Thank you for voting to get the Brownsfield going, and we want to go after some other funding.
Yep.
To start doing some improvements there, but
Yep.
without you know, knowing for sure the board's take,
Yep.
we're not gonna go chase money.
Yeah, no, and that was kind of our intentions. We hoped that if we put enough in there to take care of the brownfield, then hopefully we could get some grants and maybe do some of the
Some
other
grants,
projects.
some other fundraising,
Yeah.
and some different things,
Yeah.
but putting a ball field out there is very few dollars for T-ball.
Yeah.
We already have all the things at the rec department to do so, so.
And the soccer field's a little striping, because it's fairly
Yeah,
low.
anything, for me, anything such as that is great. I mean,
Yeah.
other than building something, just as long as we have portalettes out there for people to use, I say take advantage of the land and use it.
And we wanna get some landscaping going,
Mhm.
you know, make it nicer as people are walking by there.
Well, I think it shows the community that, you know, we're serious in doing something with it and using it for the community as a whole, whatever it may be, you know. I had some discussions to people last week, I'm part of a cornhole league. We're using the inside of the armory right now in the wintertime to play a cornhole. We go to Milton every weekend to do this. That's a perfect opportunity for us outside people. There's like 50 of us that play every week, you know, so it's a great opportunity for the community to bring people into our community, so, yep. So I say, use it, you know?
Yeah. We can get, seems to me we could get the testing done before you really were gonna get out there and do much with it anyway. So we know, once we know where the area is, we can, like you say, we can fence that off and then you go ahead and, you know what you got.
Yeah. No, and once we can find someone that can do it, we can go with a loader and scrape off the snow so they can get in there and core it if they need to, so.
Right.
So it's realistic to think that until that's been done, there probably shouldn't be any use down there until you have that area cordoned off, and that way you know what you're actually doing.
Yeah.
Is that realistic, or-
Well, I would think we ought to be able to find someone to have that tested before springtime, before you actually start using
Yeah,
it,
there's
so.
several companies in Burlington
Yeah.
that looked already, so I'll,
Okay.
Yeah, should get them up here.
Well, see
get
what
them
you
up
can
and
find, what
get
they're
it
gonna
right.
cost.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll be glad to work with Brian, and
Okay.
just wanted to get some clarification. I don't know if you want to do a motion or something, you know, subject to the Brownfield, or that you support us getting some fundraising or grants.
Yeah, I don't have a problem.
Well, if you wanna make a motion, then I'll move
Yeah.
that, we start the brownfield site, work on Fourth Street, as soon as we can. And, once we, clarify the area, that area can be portioned off, and the rest of the area, the rec department can start using. Can we support community use there? I don't know how else you want us
Yeah.
to say it. I mean,
That's what we need.
No, that's fine.
We're gonna
And
go
the only
chase
thing I
money.
would say is if there's anything gonna be constructed or tore up, then it would select board, we need to know about it first.
Yeah.
Other than, using it for ball field, whatever, I don't have a problem with that, or soccer, or those kind of uses, and certainly go for it, if you can get the grants and find any grants to do those projects. I mean, we already approved the idea of doing what you wanted to do there,
but you
Yeah.
don't want sledding, you don't want to mount the snow there.
No, I don't think that's a great idea.
It's not that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think it makes too much mess with it.
Landscaping, you wanna see landscaping plan, because that might involve, trees or something along the fence line, if you want.
Yeah.
Tell us, I mean,
Yeah, just, I think it would be a good idea,
We're going in the
just so we
ground.
know what's
We're
going on
going in
over
the
there,
ground,
that's the
yeah.
biggest thing, yeah.
let me just add to that, okay, so I said we support the community use for that, and the rec department will present their proposals for that use, to the board. So you decide on your landscaping thing, just come here and show us.
Yeah.
I mean, we might have some input onto it, and I hope we'll like it, I'm sure we will, we haven't had that much problem yet, but,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Nope.
That way everybody's always informed, plus
Yeah.
the community gets informed a little bit more too.
Just so we're all aware of what's going on over there, that's the
Yeah.
biggest thing, so. But I
Okay.
have no problem with the board, the rec using it, so.
Just for one other clarification, so when spring comes, is recreation gonna maintain the mowing and taking care of it, or is that the town? Because you guys start putting fields down, I don't want Brian going over mowing,
No, it won't.
taking care of stuff, so that's something we might wanna look at.
I will bring that to my board when
Yeah.
we meet next. We're still looking for somebody to take that position on.
So, but I'll second or else,
Okay. Any other discussion?
Yeah, just the only other discussion is that,
Yep.
you know, there was two sides of it. It was either sell it and we raise the tax base for the
Yep.
community and we bring in water sewer and, you know, we bring in something that's gonna help, bring some more housing in the community. Or we use it for what it seems like we're going with now. And I think as long as we're doing something, and that's what most of the people really want. Regardless of which side of the house you're on, which event you were looking to see happen, if something wasn't gonna happen, that was the biggest issue, was that, and here it is a year later, and a lot of people were starting to ask, myself included, you know, in the last couple of months, where's this gonna go? And I'm glad that the board is actually moving forward to do something, because that's what people wanna see, is something done with that vacant space. Because it's sitting there open isn't doing anybody a favor. So thank you, let's continue to move forward for, it looks like a community project of some sort to enhance the area.
Thank you, Sean. All right, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you again, Joel, thank you, Sean. Any other correspondence?
No,
No, that's it, all right. Public comment, anything under public comment?
Snow's coming. Swanton Rec has snowshoes if you're looking to get out there and get active. Also, we encourage people to check out our website. There's been a lot of updates, new programs constantly coming. I would love to get more community engagement from Swanton.
I do have one thing to add. The Swanton Chamber will be recognizing the Citizen or Business of the Year. Come to the informational meeting on the 22nd, so we'll be making that announcement, who we selected this year.
All right.
Because of COVID, we're trying to keep the banquet out of it this year, so we thought that's a good opportunity for
Perfect.
the community to be involved as well.
The other thing I have, James, and still looking for volunteers for Meals on Wheels.
Okay,
Only an hour and a half a day. You know, and it's really a big issue in Swanton. And I personally don't understand it. My wife and I are doing it 2 days a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. And it just blows me away that we're in a community that is 5 days a week, that we can't fill those 5 days.
did you say you cut back to 2 days a week delivering because they saw how it help?
Well, that's basically what we've had to do. Like
Wow.
today, we delivered 4 meals to each family. And of course, now they're predicting the snowstorm. I mean, Monday, there was no delivery. So today, my wife and I did Mondays and todays. And I just don't, and I've pounded it as much as I can pound it on Facebook. I am breaking in a new lady Thursday. But so,
You guys are on board for a while.
and if anybody can put out there to help us fill those vacancies, that would be greatly appreciated.
What about our girl messengers all bugging us for something? Story, have you heard of, do something, article in the paper maybe to help, anything?
Yeah,
She drives me nuts, when I can get her to print something in there.
Kate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did do,
I'll call her.
Yeah.
See if she-
do something.
You haven't had anything in the messenger about it?
No.
Any story?
Anything. Yeah,
No, I'd appreciate that, Brian.
yeah, it's an idea.
Just remember,
Yeah.
we haven't gone to the printer yet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Have you sent out that press release?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sure did.
Okay.
Actually, I think we got our copy back today,
All approved.
the proof back, and we paid back today.
Yeah. I took my first official business trip Swanton Town to deliver that town report. In a blinding snowstorm, actually, it was almost white out.
That could be an article alone, right?
You're stretching yourself. You're not a politician yet. I'm not stretching so much.
Last Friday, it was between exit 19 and Georgia was pretty wild on the way down, way back was bad.
That's normal.
Yeah.
You're a Vermonter, Brian, you can drive it.
Oh, yeah.
All right, we're all good on public comment? Upcoming events, next regular Zoom select board meeting is Tuesday, February 15th, 2022, 7 PM here at the Town Hall, 1 Academy Street. Planning Commission meeting is Wednesday, February 16th, 6 PM at the Swanton Town Hall, 1 Academy Street. President's Day holiday, Monday, February 21st. Town office and operations will be closed. Town and Village informational meeting will be Tuesday, February 22nd, 7 PM at the Swanton Village Complex, 120 First Street. DRB meeting is Thursday, February 24th, 7 PM at the Swanton Village Complex, in person only. Executive session, I need to go into executive session, discuss personnel. I hear a motion to go into executive session.
I move,
You gotta read all that good stuff, you wanna read
I move that we find that we enter into
Debbie
exec,
went to, she's going into, she just popped on there.
that we move into executive session for the select board to receive confidential contract, personal information for which premature disclosure of it to the general public would clearly place the select board and others in a substantial disadvantage.
Any second on that? All right, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And we got the second.
I move that based on our just made findings that premature disclosure would place the select board and others in a substantial disadvantage. We enter into executive session at
Action taken, none? All in, sorry, Earl. Yeah.
Forgot. You've done it when Ed was here. I do think we really should meet with the, planning commission in some idea what our plans might be.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we put something together.
The planning commission will be meeting with the DRB to synchronize on what their goals are, and then the next step will be.
When is that gonna take place, you know?
I can email it to you. I don't have it right off the top of my head, I'm sorry.
Well, you wanna know when the next planning commission is? or-
Yeah, but are they having a joint?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't, it's not on here, joint meeting, so.
The joint one hasn't been decided
It
yet.
hasn't been decided yet, okay.
They have a few dates they're looking at, but the next planning commission meeting itself will be on the 16th.
Who's the chair now? Ed?
They're still to be decided at the next meeting.
Well, again, my thought was that, you know, we'd have Brian contact whoever in charge, you know, and we would like to probably, if they're gonna be with the development reboard, it'd be a good time for us to be there. It should be passed along to the village trustees too. You know, maybe we get one member there, and in the meantime, maybe we should, Brian, could work on maybe a few priorities. I know we're talking about the southern growth district, we're talking about downtown. I mean, there may be some other things in there too, that, you know, we would, it's not that we're telling them how to write the plan, but it'd be more to, let them know some of the things that, you know, we have in our minds.
The best person to touch base with is Amy in the zoning office, because she's synchronizing.
Yeah. Maybe we should do something for March.
I don't, they're planning that, we should do it all together, everybody should, yeah.
Yeah, if
Be a
they're
good
planning,
time.
yeah, we're planning a joint meeting after town meeting day and.
Yep. Yeah,
It'll be-
because they haven't been to court, what you're saying is it's not scheduled.
They haven't
yet.
scheduled, yeah, they're talking about it. Yeah.
No, they've proposed a few dates, but
Mhm.
after town meeting day.
Yeah.
Is the consensus.
Good.
Yep,
Good.
makes sense.
So much going
I
on.
hear it's time, so my other suggestion would be that we should all, if we got things that we'd like to see included in that discussion, to let Brian know.
Yep. Okay.
Do you want to message Gordon back and see if they had something to say, because they're not responding?
Oh, I don't think so.
No.
I think he's good. He said he got in, so.
Yeah, they're still sitting there.
Yeah.
They're
I
not-
told him we were going to executive session. I think.
I'm in.
Oh,
There you are.
there he is. Hey, Gordon.
I'm in. I was trying to catch. I was actually trying to catch Joel, but
Now I'm just listening.
Joel's gone, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so,
Thank you though for checking on me.
okay, you're welcome.
We just to, if you're still listening, Gord, we just talked, you probably weren't on when Joel was here, about the use of the 4th Street property. And the board voted, we were fine with them using the rec using the 4th Street property for ball field type things, or such as that. Any construction or anything like that would just, we'd ask the board, they came back to the board and just let us know any other kind of things they were doing with the property over there. And our plan is to get someone in there, do some testing on the brownfield contaminants, and so we can move forward with that, about cleaning it up if necessary, so.
Great, it's great doing.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, Joel called me a little while ago, so
Okay,
thank you for,
Yep. No problem,
thank you
Gordon.
for clearing that out and
Yep.
supporting that, so.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, guys have a good meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion to adjourn.
I second.
All right, we're now, yeah. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned at 8:56.